about 2 months behind from where we're supposed to be at in volumes, but a lot's been going on, a lot of working, a lot of procrastination, but we're gonna get back into it, I promise. So without further ado, let's get into volume 6.
Look around you, look beyond. You could make an unbreakable bond. The world around you's not what it seems. It's all revealed beyond your wildest dreams. So many things I never could see. So many choices falling on me. Could it be my destiny to be Shaman? Shaman King. To be Shaman. Shaman King. If your spirit is strong, you could be the one. I can look at the world in a different light. I know what it takes to make it right, and I won't give up the fight to be Shaman. Shaman King.
Hey guys, welcome back to Everything Anime Podcast. I'm your host Shinry here at the Everything Anime Podcast. I've been from anime, manga, video game, TV shows, and a relevant topic we're talking about. Today's video is on Shaman King Volume 6. Now, if you're new to the Shaman King videos, what we're trying to do is we're trying to review the Shaman King manga from start to finish. I said this in the previous 5 videos. I'll probably just repeat this one more time, but basically, Shaman King, I read it as a kid before I watched it on 4Kids, and it got to a point in the manga where the author decided he's going to take a break, and it never finished Shaman King for as far as I knew forever. I thought it just had no definitive ending. The Shaman King anime on 4Kids, it follows the manga to an extent, and then it goes off on its own thing, because according to 4Kids, Shaman King got a little bit too dark. There's dark humor, there's dark jokes, there's dark themes in here that I kind of forgot about because I had watched the 4Kids one recently, and it edits out all that stuff. With One Piece and the One Piece 4Kids, which are watching One Piece rap, it's the greatest One Piece opening of all time. Sanji sucks on a lollipop instead of smoking a cigarette, or Luffy, they don't show blood, stuff like that. So, I was very curious to find out when I found out 1 or 2 years ago that Shaman King has a definitive ending. And the Netflix version does have the adaptation, but it's kind of like the Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Brotherhood situation, where Full Metal Alchemist followed the manga to an extent, but Full Metal Alchemist didn't have definitive ending at the time where the manga caught up to anime, so it made its own thing. And then Shaman King, the Netflix version, it just cuts it all in half. It's 12 episodes. Shaman King 4Kids is just 44 episodes, but I feel like you get a lot more than the 12 episodes you get out of Netflix, even though Netflix has a definitive ending. So we're reading it through for the first time, and I want to see with you guys first time how Shaman King ends. On top of that, it's one of the greatest manga ever, in my opinion. Hiroyuki Taki. I loved this one as a kid, and I want to cosplay one of the characters at some point. But anyways, when we last left off, Yo was in the middle of a fight with Boss the 5th or 4th, I forget which one it is, and Morty's life was in danger because Foss had cut Morty open to kind of get into Yo's head, make Yo angry, because the angrier Yo is, the more Yo's not thinking about using his mana over time, because if you run out of mana, you lose the Shaman King fight. Whereas Foss had put these a little bit of mana in each of these skeletons just enough to make them walk. Yo didn't realize that because Yo just saw this massive amount of skeletons and thought Foss was more powerful than him. But they actually had the same amount of aryoku. They had the same amount of mana. Which, by the way, in the manga it's called aryoku, and the anime it's called mana. And then in the anime it's called, I think his name is Morty, and then in the manga his name is Manta. And then Len is Ren. I think it's Lenny in the manga and Ren in the anime. So there's some name changes that I might say here and there, but you'll know what I'm talking about if you're caught up in my videos. But yeah, so if Yo wins the second fight, he automatically goes into the Shaman King tournament. But if Yo loses this fight, he has to fight one more time, because you have to win 2 fights in the Shaman King tournament, or the main rounds. Right now, Yo's in the preliminaries. He beat Horo, and he's currently losing against Foss. But Yo said he had a plan the last volume that ended. And so Foss has already got 2 consecutive wins. He killed his opponents twice. And so Boss technically didn't have to fight, but he's gonna fight anyway, I guess. Maybe he killed his proctor, then he killed and he killed his opponent. But I know he killed at least 2 of his opponents. So Boss technically has no reason to fight again, unless there's like a draw or something that might have happened. I'm not sure. But Boss is fighting for his 3rd time. But anyways, Yo can't afford to lose. Oh, I mean, he can't afford to lose because he'll have one more fight. But it's risky because if Yo loses his 3rd fight, then it's all over. He's out of the Shaman King tournament. And so that's where we currently are at. Because also it wasn't against the rules for Boss to attack Morty because Morty has nothing to do with the Shaman King fight. Morty's a bystander. Bystanders, like, if they're in danger, that's just, I guess until the fight's over, Silva can't intervene because Anna and Silva are there, but they can't intervene because, the Shaman King fight's currently happening. Because I wish Anna had just, saved Morty, got Morty out of there, But anyways, that's currently where we're at. Also, before I forget, Foss has home field advantage because Foss is a necromancer, and they're currently fighting in the graveyard. So Foss has this unlimited amount of skeletons he can draw from and use at his disposal at all times. Whereas, Yo just has to meet tomorrow in his sword. And plus, Foss has his spirit ally, Eliza, his beloved Eliza, who was his wife, but she died. She was killed the night. I might be jumping ahead of myself. Let me stop talking. Anyway, Yo had been whisking away at his men the entire time because Foss had already taken the battle, Yo had taken the battle seriously, and Foss had, angered Yo, messing with Morty, getting in Yo's head, making a lot of skeletons, but, not using that much power. So Yo was giving everything from the start, whereas Foss was just, barely putting any mana, like I said, into these skeletons, just enough for them to move. And then Eliza, his main spirit, at this point, she was overpowering Yo, because Yo had already lost so much mana. Yo was already exhausted and tired. But again, it was a layered plan. And the way Yo found a way to turn this against Foss was by calling Eliza a doll. Because, that's his wife, the person he loved. He spent years, Foss grew up loving this girl, the person he met her, and she was sick. And he had, spent his whole life studying medicine to help her get better. And, then she died. Like I said, when they got their clinic, the first night she died. And so he spent his whole life, learning necromancy to bring her back to life. Foss's whole goal in becoming Shaman King is to bring Eliza back to life. And so Yo was like, okay, I know how to get back under your skin. You got under my skin with Morty. You hurt my friend. You messed with me this whole fight. Okay, I'm going to mess with you in your head too. He calls Eliza a doll, where he knows it's going to trigger Foss. You can't call his love of his life a doll. Despite Silva's spirits can't see what Yo is up to, Anna and Silva themselves already realize it. They realize, okay, Yo is taunting Foss now. He knows they get under Foss' skin. Foss got under Yo's skin. If Yo can taunt Foss and evade his attacks long enough, he'll get Foss down to their same level, and then he'll be able to have an even playing field. But that alone isn't how he plans to win. He's making Foss subconsciously waste all of his mana in his anger state. Because, there's also a time limit. You got 10 minutes to fight. If Yo runs out of mana before Foss does, Yo still loses the fight. Even if he gets under Foss's skin, he gets to the same level. So Yo is like, okay, if I can't beat Foss in a fight, I have to make Foss expend all of his mana. So, Yo's like, as long as I keep enough mana on the tip of my blade, that's all he's got left, on the tip of his Hamarase. Spring Rain. I know the name of the blade is called Spring Rain, that's the English translation. But I forget if no, I think I'm right. I think I'm saying this accurately. So I got healing Ditchrain. It's kind of distracting me because how much it hurts. I guess I had my teeth pulled, like I said in the last video. But anyway, let's keep going. Oh, but I'm also forgetting Yo. Oh yeah, that Yo is previously injured and exhausted because he's been fighting again. As I said, Foss had taunted him and angered him, and Yo had been taking damage and expending his mana. So Yo's already exhausted, but he's like, I gotta hold out. If I can hold out long enough to exhaust Foss's mana or get Foss to the same level as me, maybe I can end this in a draw, or maybe I can somehow defeat Foss, in the final blow. But, okay, this is what we learned. As the story progresses, we learned that Eliza was Foster's wife. This is what we learned that. So we already know that Foster comes from a line of doctors and that they kept him pretty busy, but Eliza was the first friend who would always greet him, the girl in the window. Oh, so this, I did talk about myself. This is the first time we learned about, Eliza's past and Foster's relationship with her. Sometimes I'll be ahead of my notes. But yeah, Eliza was a girl in the window that Foster fell in love with. Like, one day he's just walking down the street and he's seen her. He'd always wave at her. She'd smile and wave at him too. But she never left her house because she was sick. So, like, she was just a girl he'd admire from afar. It turns out Eliza had a terrible disease, but Foster dedicated his life to finding a way to save her, and after 20 years, he had. Now, we never learned, I think, what this disease was, but it basically kept her, like, house-ridden or bedridden, like Eliza couldn't leave her house. And upon the day that he and Eliza got married, they started their own clinic. Okay, so yeah, this is why we learned all this, because, they want you to feel bad for Eliza. So yeah, she had been bedridden her whole life, and then Foster spent his whole life, trying to get her better. And then 20 years later, he found the cure. They got married, and they started a clinic. So kind of like a very happy story. A very kind of like true love at first sight, lovers that should make it all the way to the end. It was kind of that story. And currently, the first night they opened the clinic, the store was robbed, and Eliza was shot in the head. And this definitely was not in the 4Kids anime. That's what I was talking about. Yeah. So this ending, this backstory was too dark. I don't think 4Kids said why Eliza died or how Eliza died. I'm pretty sure they didn't say something. That's what I think I was trying to remember, like what 4Kids said, the reason why Eliza died. But yeah, I mean, damn, like, she got robbed and she was only got shot in the head. Like, they could have robbed the store. Maybe she tried to stop them or something like that. I mean, it was their first clinic, and, they had done this together and spent this whole life together. They probably put a lot of money into that clinic. But that's really sad, like, really dark, to lose the love of your life after healing them and fighting for them and finally getting the chance to marry them and live happily ever after, and then she dies. I mean, I do understand Foster's motivation to bring her back to life. She never got to live a life. She spent 20 years bedridden, probably longer than that because she was obviously a kid. So let's just say about 30 years bedridden. And she finally gets to live her life. She finally gets to go outside. She finally gets to spend a life with somebody, and then she dies. It really is not fair. Foster, clearly and understandably heartbroken, sought through all of science and medicine to revive her, and that's when he came across the studies of Foster first and necromancy. Because he loved Eliza so long, he couldn't bear to leave her, even in death. And again, as I said, like, a love for the ages. Like, he fought so hard for this woman, and for her to never get a chance at life, he saw her. He's like, how do I beat death? He's not looking for immortality for himself. He's looking for like a way to bring his wife back to life, spent to grow old with her. So again, never giving up that love for her. Just like he spent 20 years studying medicine to find whatever disease she had, he's now spent his whole life, studying necromancy to bring her back to life. And this is the oldest medicine he could find, like the thing that can beat death, And that is the reason why Foster wants to become Shaman King, to revive his beloved Eliza, as we already talked about. Which, again, for that context, makes sense. Just like Ryu saying he wants to find his happy place, Horo wants to make an endless forest for the coral people, or rural people, the little plant trees. Lin, we learned in this volume what his real goal is. And, Yo just wants to live a happy life, but we know, like, really he wants everybody to have a happy, easygoing life. Yo wants to be able to make friends, which he has now in Morty and stuff like that. And you're curious to find out, like, what the other shamans that we're going to meet around the world, what their goals will be when they become Shaman King. But Yo goes on to tell Foster that's pointless, because, again, Yo is trying to get under his skin. It's not that Yo doesn't understand Foster's and Eliza's backstory. He wants to get under Foster's skin. Even if he could bring Eliza back from the dead, he says there would be no point. She would just die again because all humans die. Which is a fair point. If your whole goal to become Shaman King is to bring your wife back to life, she's just going to get killed again. She could. Although as Shaman King, he could keep bringing her back over and over again. I mean, I don't know if she'd like that, but, like, he could do that, essentially. He could keep, like, or make her immortal, as I said. And Yo goes on to say the only reason that shamans exist is to help humans move on from the past that they can't let go of. So he's like, Foss, you're holding on to her. She died. You got to let her go. But again, Yo is just trying to get under Foster's skin. as we've seen it many times in Volume 1, between him and Morty, and the encounters and battles they've had so far. He kind of does have a point, though. Yo has helped people, like, pass on and accept death and move on, and move on with lives, including the ones that are alive, like, let them talk or see the people of their past in some kind of way. So he's trying to explain to Foss, you have to let Eliza go and move on. But again, it's also getting under her skin. But I think Joe still has a point. Like, even if you did beat me, you should let her go. Like, she died. He's like, if you can't do that, you don't deserve to become Shaman King. And he says that, and as he says this, he cuts Eliza in half in an intense and really cool panel. Yo is such a well-rounded character. I love this character because, like, Yo's motivation, it always grows. You know who this character is by Volume 6. We know who Yo is. We know Yo in and out at this point. And not only is he consistent, I feel like we've seen, like, different personalities, different parts of Yo, like where Yo at first was laid back, and then we see Yo training, and then we see Yo evolve, and then we see Yo angry and intense and care about his friends, and see Yo sad and cry. It's really cool to see all of that, like the different aspects of Yo. He's not a one-dimensional character. And from the panel, you would think the battle was over. Like, the way he cut Eliza in half, you would think Yo might have won. Even Silva's spirits are cheering for a moment, but Silva obviously can tell something is wrong. Like, even I thought for a minute, because I forgot how this chapter ended, and again, I just saw this in 4Kids anime. I don't know why I didn't remember this. But you would think the fight was over, that Yo had won. He had just beaten Foss. He just talked down to Foss. He shoveled up Foss's mind, all that. You would think he might have beat him. Silva warns them, though, that he's just cut Eliza down. That doesn't mean his Oversoul has disappeared. As long as Foss has mana, Foss can restore her. Because remember, only Yo has a little bit of mana left at the tip of his blade. But Foss has only put a penny of mana in each of these other skeletons. Even though it's like a lot of skeletons, it's only been a penny. While Eliza has this full mana for Yoku. So as long as he has a lot more for Yoku left, or even a reserve, he can bring her back, and then Yo still has to cut her down over and over again. In fact, Yo's last move exhausted all of his mana. Yo has now lost the fight due to running out of mana. And not being killed by Foss, Yo has run out of mana. Like, Yo saying to Foss, it could be really to help Foss, accept the past, or accept that Eliza died. As Yo said, like, you don't deserve to become Shaman King because she's a human. She'll just die anyway. You're wasting a dream. You're wasting it from somebody that can have it for themselves. And Foss, because he only now realized he got under Foss's skin way too late, Foss is, like, pissed off. He's like, you cut down my Eliza. You destroyed her. You called her a doll. And you're saying my goal is useless? My goal is over? The match is over, though. Yo has 1 win, one loss, and Foss has 3 wins. Because, again, they said Foss killed his last 2 opponents. Or maybe, like I said, the Proctor and then his previous opponent. I'm guessing, because after 2 wins, you're supposed to just move on to the fight. Move on to Shaman King tournament. A main tournament. Unless Foss just loves killing people, I guess. But this is also where we see another layer of Yo. Yo's character starts crying. I think this is the first time we see Yo, like, break down in tears, like, actually, like, upset, sad, because for the first time in his life, he feels like he failed since he almost lost Morty. Yeah, he almost lost Morty, his first and best human friend, like, his only friend Yo's ever had, because we learned from Anna that Yo's never had a friend his entire life. He grew up, talking about ghosts to normal kids in the real world, and everybody thought he was weird. And then Morty was the first friend that followed him and wanted to be his friend. And he could see ghosts. And Yo's like, okay, you're my friend. Remember that we learned that when Morty first followed Yo. He's like, what do you come to your friend for? And Yo's like, well, we're friends. That's why. And also, so he's sad about that. Like, almost Morty being killed because Yo got reckless. Yo wasn't strong enough. He feels like he wasn't strong enough. And second, because he's 1 step further away from his goal to become Shaman King. He now realizes that there are stronger opponents out there. There are people that can, like, abuse the people he cares about to get to him. And this isn't the first time this happened. Tokagero also had manipulated the Harmasume, threatened to break it. He threatened to kill Ryu, and then he threatened to kill Morty, when Tokagero had taken over Morty. So he realized, like, there are bad shamans out there, because Yo thought people that can see spirits can't be bad. He's now realizing that there are bad people out there. People that like enjoy killing, people that want to become Shaman King for the wrong reasons. Because we learned like a volume or two ago, like I said, Yo kept saying like, oh, people that see spirits can't be all that bad. Well, Yo, you're starting to realize you're probably wrong, buddy. But Tomorrow is the one that tells him like, that is what will make Yo a great Shaman King, because he's scared of losing those things. He's scared of losing his friends. He's scared of losing people. He's scared of losing anything he cares about. Like, it's not just his dream. He's scared of losing. He's scared of losing people. So Tomorrow is like, he'll be a great Shaman King. He'll be a great leader. Even Silva and Anna are all thinking that this loss was a good lesson for Yo to learn early in the Shaman King tournament. They're like, it is sad that Yo lost, but hey, at least he learned this early. Like, he learned there are stronger opponents out there. He learned that, like, people that he cares about could be used and in danger. Like, you got to keep them away from these fights. If they're not involved with the fight and they can't protect themselves, they got to stay out of the way. So, it is good that Yo learns early, because when he gets to some stronger fights, when he gets to people that made it to the tournament, those people have beaten the proctors, they've beaten 2 other opponents, they're one step closer to going to main round. They're now in the main rounds. They are now, you're in your way to achieve your dream, your goal. Even Anna shows another layer of herself thinking to herself that Yo is growing and will leave her behind. Anna's now worried, like, Yo, he's changing in so many ways. He's learning so many things. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be good enough for him. This is the first time Anna, who declared herself the wife of Yo, she's his fiance in an arranged marriage, and even she's thinking, like, Yo's going to leave me behind. I'm not good enough for him. Which shocks Silva, but she has to re-put that mask on. She can't let Silva see, like, I'm actually soft under here. We do see another layer of Anna later that I like as well. Again, Hatake is really good at creating these characters, fleshing out these characters. However, even though the fight is over and Foss has won, he's gone out of his mind. And he won because he's never lost. And 2, he killed all of his opponents in the Shaman King tournament. And 3, because Yo destroys his wife's corpse. And 4th, he called her a doll. So Foss isn't even worried that he won the fight. He's like, you destroyed Eliza. No one's destroyed Eliza. You called her a doll. Oh, fuck no. I don't care if this fight's over. I'm killing your ass. And Anna springs into battle because Yo is out of mana. He can't defend himself. And even Silver is angered with himself. He got careless thinking that Foss would just accept the win. So Foss is going after Yo. And Yo's out of mana. Again, Yo can't fight. And Yo's not thinking. Yo is sadder that he's crying. He's not thinking about, Foss about to attack him. Or Foss about to kill him. So Anna's like, oh, hell no. I'm about to send this bitch to hell. I'm about to send all his spirits. And maybe even Foss himself to hell. And then Silver's like, the fight's over. I cannot intervene. I got careless thinking that Foss would just accept this win and leave. Foss then uses all of his mana at once to try and annihilate Yo in one go, destroying him completely in like this giant skeleton. I think it's like the Skeleton King or something like that. And it was here that I remember something from the manga and anime that was really cool as a kid. This is the part that I remember as Foss thumbs up this giant skeleton monster. All of a sudden, I knew what would happen. This I remember from what happened. Foss' ultimate technique is ultimately destroyed in a single blow to all their surprise, and the one who would save him was unexpected. As a kid, I was like, who did that? I thought Yo might have done something at this point. And could you guess who it is? It's Tao motherfucking Ren. Tao Ren saved Yo. Or not saved him so he wouldn't die. He saved Yo for himself. Because guess who's Yo's third fight in the Shaman King tournament? It's against Ren. It's time for their rematch. The rematch we've all been waiting for. And I remember as a kid, I was like, what the fuck? One, why is Ren on a horse? Ren has a new spirit? Or dual spirits? And then 2, that was just so fucking cool. Like, you can have to tell Ren is super strong. Like, he obliterated Foss's giant skeleton, which who knows if Yo could have handled. Maybe Yo could have at his full power, maybe. But anyways, it was a great way to end the chapter. I'm going to take a quick break. I need to adjust this, and then we'll come back and continue the video. Sorry for that break, guys. Again, I had to take care of some stuff earlier that day. But yes, Tao Ren is Yo's third match. If Yo beats Tao Ren for a second time, which right now Yo is like, he's beating Tao Ren. They did land him in the hospital the first time, but he technically didn't beat Tao Ran. If he beat Ran 2 for 2, you'll move on to the main Shaman King tournament. And we can assume possibly the same for Ran, that Ran probably defeated his last 2 opponents, and now Yo's his next fight. Or I guess it'd be he won his first fight and then Yo's the second fight. Not sure. I don't see Tao Ran losing to anybody else, but you never know. You never know. But we then learned that a 2-month time skip has passed, and Yo and Morty have both been in the hospital when a man pulls up. Yo is in the hospital from his injuries with his fight against Boss, and then Morty because he was cut open. And so I was wondering who this man was that pulled up. And we know that this man is Manta, or Morty's father again. We're calling him Morty, even though the Manga calls him Manta. And we learn that Morty comes from a wealthy family who wants him to move to America and take over the family business. So Morty ain't just studious, he's a part of a rich family. And you can tell there might be some kind of disconnect because Morty doesn't seem like he goes home every day. And we do learn that there's like some disconnect. But like, who knew Morty had some money in his pockets? Okay, ching ching. You over here talking about some Yo's house is huge. Bitch, you got a wealthy family. We also get to look at what I assume is Morty's mother and younger sister. I don't remember them at all. I feel like this was definitely glossed over in the 4Kids anime, which whatever reason why. I think I know why, because there's a certain scene that happens. But I don't remember them being mentioned in the anime. But in the manga, I've definitely read up to at least volume 22 when I first read all Shaman King. After volume 22, it kind of blurry. But I know they were definitely cut from 4Kids anime. They might even be cut in the Netflix version, because Netflix is only like 12 episodes. Like I said, Netflix, they like cutting through it pretty fast. Morty, however, refuses to go with his family and to America, but his family is pleased to him that like staying in Japan is dangerous because he's been getting cut up and bruised. And you know, the last time he got his stomach cut open, which obviously Morty can't tell them the truth, you know, that Yo was in the Shaman King tournament and Yo was fighting and basically become like God's like shaman. You know, he can't tell them that. They're not gonna believe that. But it does turn out that they do know that Yo is a shaman. They just don't believe in it. They just believe it's all a bunch of hocus pocus, you know. Morty's sister, her name is Manako. I might be saying his name wrong, you know. She appears to know about everything. She appears to know everything about Morty's real reason why he doesn't want to leave Japan, and that's because of his best friend, Yo. She's like, oh, I know the real reason you don't leave Japan. You want to leave your first best friend. Because, like, we know that Morty is Yo's first best human friend. Like, his first friend ever in his entire life. Because, again, Yo was past that he was made fun of, like, because he could see ghosts, and people thought he was crazy. Other kids thought he was, like, weird because they could see ghosts. And there probably no other shamans that Yo could hang out with at that time. And then Morty, you know, Morty's a studious guy. Yeah, people come to him for, like, you know, studying and probably answers and getting their grades fixed or getting answers or cheats on tests. But, like, they're not actually Morty's friends. So these are their first. This is a friendship for the first time for the both of them. We also learned that Morty's mother's name is Kikyo and his father's name is Damanisu. That's a short man we were introduced to that put up to the hospital. Kikyo, that had reminded me. I remember reading that. It reminded me of Inuyasha. Or was that? I think Yu Hakusho has a Kikyo too. Kikyo. Either way, I mean, all names are, you know, it's Japanese manga, and it's probably like a normal name in Japan. But I loved like the name of it. But it was actually the father, Damanitu, who paid the butler to investigate into Yo, and he knows everything. He knows that Yo's a shaman. He's like he comes from a line of shamans. He probably knows he got some money, you know, some old money. He probably knew money, you know. He looked like he knew money. He knows some from Yo's family's old money, you know. Old money better than new money, by the way. But like he's just like, yeah, you know, they ain't nothing but they ain't nothing but trickers. Leave them alone. They ain't doing nothing for you. You losing study time. You get in a fight. He probably nothing but a thug. Morty is first upset, yelling that they shouldn't be investigating his friend, but his father smacks him. That shocks the family. This is why I probably was taking the 4Kids, because the father smacks Morty, and he tells him it's a parent's job to know everything that their child is doing and who their child is interacting with. I do got to give some props for that. Because parents, you do need to be, like, more in your kids' lives until they're an adult, until they turn 18. Like, find out who they're hanging out with, find out who they're talking to, find out what apps they're using, because there are people out there that want to hurt your child, that can manipulate your child, that could even take them down the wrong path. You know, like, say, influencers, with all this gambling they're promoting and fake products they're saying clean all their skin and all that. Parents, we smart enough, some of us, to watch over your kids, monitor them, be in their lives. Because I'm going to tell you, when I was a kid, I thought I knew everything. As an adult now, I know I wish I would have done things more seriously as a kid or saved up. There's certain things, that a parent can teach you while you're young. Even though, this is what we were talking about. And, and it does turn out like he has no idea that anything wasn't that Yo's a shaman, his family comes from shaman. He's like, they're just like fortune tellers. He has this idea of like what shamans are. Like they're con men. They're like, I hear somebody in the audience. They're calling out somebody with S. Sam, Rachel, Tommy, that's my job. That's my... Yeah, he's like, they're like comment like that. Like, like them fake shamans. I'd be like, I'm talking to your loved one. I'm talking to your pet. He says he loves bass. And you're like, my dog didn't love bass. My dogs hated bass. You're like, it must be a different dog. I must be channeling a different, something like that. And so he says that Yo is wasting his time, and that Morty, if he wants to fail in life, he needs to like not be like Yo and get a real job, like come run the family business. And you chase this shaman kid, if you follow him, you're gonna keep getting in fights, you're gonna keep getting attacked, cut up by thugs and stuff like that. You're wasting your potential. You're a smart kid. Come to America and take over this job. Morty, however, admires Yo because even though Morty is very studious and he never had a dream, Yo has a dream. Morty's like, why am I studying so hard? What do I want to do in life? Yo, at least, even though his dream is basically just have a happy, like, be able to do whatever he wants, live in peace and play his music and have a best friend and, have on at his side. Like, Yo just wants to live a happy life, easygoing life. Morty's like, at least that's a dream. That's something somebody wants and they can achieve. I don't know what my dream is. And so, in fact, because they both have been in the hospital these last 2 months, they didn't have a chance to see each other. Like, Yo and Morty, they're both in the hospital because they've been injured and in the hospital bed this whole time. They haven't seen each other. So Morty quickly races to see Yo, but strangely, for the first time, Yo is not happy to see his best friend. And I think I remember even when the first time I read this, I was like, this is not Yo. Yo is not happy to see his best friend. Yo is looking like so plain faced, so deadpanned. He's like, what are you doing in here? Like that's kind of face that Yo is giving. And again, because we know this character so much, we know this is not normal Yo. We know either Yo's up to something or like something's going on. And Amita's got a straight face. Anna always got a straight face. You can't read her. But she is acting like a little bit different. So something definitely strange is going on here. And then Yo tells him he lost because Morty was there. Morty was in the way. When Yo warned him not to go, Yo said, like, Morty, do not come to the shamanic fight. It's dangerous. You could die. And Morty was like, no, I want to be here. I want to experience all of it. I'm your friend. And because Yo had to save Morty's life, Yo not only nearly lost his own life, but Morty almost died as well. He's like, Morty, you got cut open by Foss, and I couldn't protect you. I was not strong enough to protect you. You got in the way. I couldn't even focus on the fight. I let my heart get clouded because you were in danger. I nearly died. I almost lost my chance to get my dream, and you almost lost your life. Now, obviously, we all know Yo's true feelings because he's just saying this because he wants to keep his best friend safe. I knew this at this point, knowing who Yo's character is, and I already knowing, like, Morty comes back later in the manga. I remember that, and I've seen the live-action anime. But obviously, this is to protect Morty. He's like, I keep you out of harm's way. You're my friend, but I need you far away from this tournament until it's over. However, the only way to do that is keep Morty out of the Shaman King tournament is, like, oh, yeah, because this is the second time, again, I've already talked about this. Tokagero used Morty as a hostage as well. When he possessed Ryu, and he threatened Ryu's life, he threatened to break the Harasame, and he threatened to kill Morty. He's like, you're constantly in danger, Morty. You got to stay away from me. And I think this is where Morty and Yo get separated for a short time. That part is true. I felt like it was longer than this, because I feel like there was a separation that happened. But I guess because, when the manga volumes were coming out, it would be like months at a time. So I felt like maybe it was longer. But yeah, I thought they got separated for a longer time than this, but I guess not. Based off this volume. But he knows Morty just won't leave, even if it's to save his own life. So Yo has to hurt him by saying he no longer wants to be Morty's friend. He's like, Morty, I don't want to be your friend anymore. Get lost. And it really hurts Morty's soul because, again, this is Yo's first friend. This is Morty's first friend. Morty doesn't realize immediately that Yo is saying this to protect him, but he also cares about his feelings. He's just like, oh, you're just trying to hurt me. You just want to you just want me to cry. You just want me to get out of here. You just want me out of your way. And so Morty runs away crying. right to what I thought was going to be America, but he doesn't make it to America. I think he makes it to the airport. And he's not the one hurting because Anna says to Yo, like, I know that took a lot from you. I know that hurt you as well. And then we see Yo's like true feelings. Yo's very sad. And again, we understand this because Morty's life has been in danger twice. Yo doesn't want to lose his first best friend. He doesn't want his best friend to be killed. You know, he doesn't want that to happen to him. But Yo also knows his third opponent is the most dangerous in the preliminary, to last round. Tao Ren wanted to kill Yo. He sent his sister after him, Tao Jun. Like, he knows that the Tao Ren is not going to be an easy opponent to defeat. And he cannot protect Morty again if Ren's going like crazy or Ren gets desperate and tries to kill Morty to win the fight. If Yo uses this second or third fight, Yo's out of the tournament. He doesn't get a chance against Shaman King. He's like, Morty, the only way to protect you is you stay out of the way, especially against Tao Ren. And then, you know, yes, Yo did beat Tao Ren the first time, but again, he ended up in the hospital as well. And this second fight, he ended up in the hospital. Not only that, Tao Ren has a horse as his Oversoul, but Basan, and they're both looking extremely powerful. So he's got like a horse Oversoul now, and he's got his Basan, the warrior from like 6,000 years ago, we later learned. And their fight is scheduled in 3 months' time. So for the first 2 months, Yo's been in the hospital. Yo's got 1 single month to get strong as Tao Ren and beat him in that fight. And since he's already missed like 2 months to get strong, who knows? Tao Ren was not sitting around. Tao Ren has definitely been out there training, getting stronger. So not only can he crush Yo, but going into the main round of the Shaman King tournament, there's going to be stronger opponents out there. So Tao Ren has definitely been training and stepping up his A game. Now, if he loses this fight, not only will Tao Ren most likely kill him and get his hands on enemy tomorrow, but Yo will be out of shape. Oh yeah, I've already talked about this. But I think what I didn't mention is that Tao Ren will definitely take him tomorrow. If Tao Ren kills Yo in the next fight, in the third fight of the preliminaries, he's obviously going to take tomorrow for himself. He's not going to let, Yo. I mean, obviously, Anna will probably send, tomorrow to heaven or something like that. She wouldn't let Tao Ren immediately get his hands on him. But she couldn't stop Tao Ren if he, won the fight and won the Shaman King tournament, because Anna's not in the tournament. So, what is Yo's plan? Knowing that he's only got 1 month left to train and get stronger and have a way to beat Tao Ren, what is Yo's plan? It's to go back home and get stronger. And once he does, only then will he go back to America and find Morty, apologize, and bring him back. I loved how that chapter ended. That was so fucking cute because, again, we know Yo's true feelings. And I love that Yo's like, once I beat Tao Ren, once I get stronger, I'm going to go to America, and I'm going to find Morty wherever he's at, and I'm going to bring him back. Fucking love that. That was so very cool. It just shows how strong their friendship is. It's like Luffy and Zoro's kind of friendship. Like, really. Meanwhile, Morty is sitting sad in the airport with his family, waiting to go to America, or I thought they were originally in America, but they were at the airport. But then, his family's like, okay, Morty, it's time to go. The plane's about to board. And Morty shouts, no, I'm not going. He refuses to go to America, and he refuses to abandon his friend. Even though Yo told him he can't come along, for the first time in his life, Morty's happy. Morty's like, I might not have a dream. I might not have a goal. I might not know what to do after school. But I know I'm happy with my best friend Yo. I'm happy traveling with Yo. And because he has become Morty's first friend, he decides he wants to know more about Yo. And the way he's gonna do that is he's gonna go back to where Yo lives, go back to Yo's home, and find out the more he can about him. And again, I love this because the friends share the same goal. Yo is going back home to train to get stronger, so that he can protect his friend Morty. And Morty's going to Yo's home to learn more about his friend, to know more about his past, to understand more about Yo, so he can feel like he connects with him more. And neither one of these characters know that they're going to meet up with each other, so that's what makes it even so much better. It's so cool. After something like that, Yo has returned home to train with his grandfather to increase his mana, or Furyoku if you're reading the manga. And the anime is called Mana. Yo made it all the way back to Izumo? I think it's a year passed, but that could be right. It's either a month. There's no way a year passed. Maybe. Because Yo was already in Japan. That's why I'm like a year. My notes say a year. Let me double check. There's no way it's been a year since that passed. Is it really say a year? Oh no, Yo has been in Japan for a year, but Yo lives in Izumo. That's what it was. Yeah, because Yo had come from. So the whole time that Yo and Morty have known each other, it's been a year because Morty had met Yo the first time that he came to school that day. So they had a whole year of adventures. So that makes sense that they have a strong bond. I mean, you've had your first friend for the first time in your life, and it's been a year that you guys have been friends. Not even just a couple of days. And even if it was a couple of days, like the stuff that Morty has been through with Yo already would create a strong friendship, already create a strong foundation. So that would make sense. But his grandfather does warn Yo, the only way for Yo to increase his mana is for him to die. Now, I was like, what you mean Yo gotta die? You know? Joe at first thinks his grandfather means he has to work himself to death, and his grandfather's like, no, you got to die. The only way to increase your mana is for you to be dead. One can increase their mana that they have from birth. They must be reborn. So basically, like a phoenix, you have to die and then be resurrected from the ashes. Like, not literally, but like that's the sense that he's trying to say. Like, your aryoku is what you're born with. You can't make it stronger, but you can die and then make it stronger by coming back to life. Just like we can't improve our hearing, sight, smell, touch, taste, or you can't increase your eyesight by training it. You can't increase your ears by training it. You can't increase your the speech, the sounds you make. We can't increase our natural five senses unless something supernatural happens. Unless you got like some chemical X or something like that. Powerpuff Girls kind of shit. A mutant kind of shit. But his grandfather says that there's other ways to help him there are other ways that he can help Yo die, but they'd have to catch a taxi to get there. And I was like, okay, we're taking a ride somewhere. We're going somewhere to train that's going to kill us, or like maybe you fight death itself. I remember the first time I read this, I was like, where could we be going? I didn't know anything about like what this could involve. Now, I've done something like that similar in the Shinry series, the Sword of Light. A lot of legendary Konjuis Master. Check it out if you haven't seen my books. The link will be posted in the description, and the ad is posted at the end of the video. But yeah, Shinry has done something like this as well, where he had to increase his Byoku, and he had to die in order to do that. Now, meanwhile, while Yo and his grandfather are off to that certain location, Morty arrives in Izumo. But he left his wallet and all his money on the plane and the rest, so now he's stranded until he runs into a certain character. Which, if you haven't noticed, Ryu is back in the story. And as you can see, he's got that weird thing going on his hair. Like I told you, Ryu's hair has been doing a lot throughout the manga, throughout the anime as well. So we're going to see a lot of character changes. Our Usopp character, Wizard Ryu, has returned. And also for the first time, again, as I talked about, you can see the change in his hair. Ryu is at the airport to go to America to become an apprentice at a sushi chef bar with the 70s style and to find a lady. He plans to go on a journey of his own. So Ryu has left this gang. He's like, I'm chasing a dream of my own now. Like, Yo's out there chasing a dream. Anna's got a dream to marry Yo. I want to achieve my dream. So he told his crew, like, everybody go get jobs, go find out, what you can do. And then I'm going to become a sous chef. And, I thought it was kind of cute that, like, Ryu told his crew to chase their own dreams, and now Ryu has to dream of his own. Obviously, Ryu's not going to become a sous chef because Ryu's one of our main characters. But I like to hear a dream. However, Morty envies him as he says he hadn't achieved his own dream, but Ryu isn't one to abandon a friend in need and ask him what happened. So Morty's like, man, even you got a dream. Yo's got a dream. Ryu's got a dream. Your crew's got dreams and jobs. Like, I don't know what my dream is. And so Ryu's like, well, I'm not going to go to America and leave you here while you're in this rut. Talk to me. Tell me what's on your chest, man to man. And before we get an answer to that, we flash over to a mountain. We're back with Yo and his grandfather. They've arrived at Yomi Cave, a place that is home to the dead, and Yo must enter there for his training. It is here Yo is going to die. And again, the dramaticness of all of this is crazy. This part is in the Netflix live action I know of, and this part is in the 4Kids anime, but it's like played off like not in the sinister way that the manga is describing it, but it is telling hey, yo, you go in this cave, you're gonna die, but you're gonna come out strong. If you survive, you're gonna come out stronger. It's a training ground for all shamans. All Yo has to do is simply walk through it on his own and walk out the other side. Now, that seems kind of simple. How could you die walking through a cave and then walking out the side of the cave? Well, it takes 7 days and 7 nights for an adult to reach the other side of the cave on their own in complete darkness. There is no light in the cave. You cannot take your spirit ally with you. It is you walking. Now, I don't know if the cave is straight. I don't know if the cave curves. Obviously, in the dark, you're not going to be able to see. You're not going to be able to, your mind's going to play tricks on you. You might get scared. You might get lost. You could starve to death. Anything could happen. So as simple as it sounds, once you enter the cave, all your 5 senses are like useless to you. Over a course of time, all she says you'll have left is your mana. You'll have your aryoku. Like, that's it. It's just you in that darkness by yourself. And you have to find your way out. The madness one can experience in the cave have left other shamans insane, or they simply got lost and died. So even if you make it out after 7 days, you might come out not even the same person. You might not even recognize yourself, recognize, that you're outside the cave. You might have just gone crazy for 7 days, 7 nights. And that's if you made it out. And that's at minimum 7 days, 7 nights. It can take you longer if you get lost. Knowing all this, he asked his grandson, will you still go? Will you still enter Yomi Cave? Will you risk becoming stronger? And Yo doesn't hesitate. He says he came all this way to become stronger, and this is the only way he can. If he doesn't do it, he will die or he will lose his dream either way. Or he can't protect the ones he cares about. If he doesn't go in this cave, he can't protect Anna. He can't protect Morty. He can't protect Midamaru. Tao Ren is not his only opponent. Tao Ren is not the only threat. This is the preliminaries. He's already seen how vicious Faust is. He already knows how ruthless Tao Ren is. These are just the shamans he's met so far. And going into the main tournament, they're going to be people with dreams just like Yo, just like Faust, just like Trey, or Horror, just like Tao Ren, that are going to challenge Yo's. He's got to be stronger than all of them, and he's got to be able to protect his friends and do it. And just like Luffy, Yo simply says that he will become the Shaman King, making his grandfather smile. And I really love that. And now has full faith in Yo that Yo has changed and can succeed. Plus, it's great to see this version of Yo back again. Like, Yo has been sad because he's been in the hospital. He's been, depressed and discussing Faust. But seeing this side of Yo, seeing Yo say, yeah, I'm entering. I'm going to become the Shaman King. It is that glimpse of Yo that we've been missing, that we were hoping it wasn't lost. I really love that Yo's back. Now, we once again flashback over to Morty and Ryu, who are on their way to Izumo in style, riding on a 2-person motorcycle, or passenger motorcycle, and to confront Yo and make him apologize for what Yo said to Morty. Ryu's like, oh no, friends don't talk like that. Friends make up, friends apologize when they say something wrong, and Yo is in the wrong. So Ryu's like, oh yeah, I'm going to escort you back to Izumo. We're going to confront Yo wherever he's at. But also, Ryu was inspired by the thought of Yo going home because his family are generations of shamans, and he's hoping to get some shaman training for himself. So Ryu, our character, is hoping now to get shaman training. We know that Ryu can see spirits. We know that he can see Tokagero. We know that he was used as a medium for the hammer, Amidamaru's best friend, when Anna channeled that spirit into him. So we know Ryu is going to become a shaman. And again, I remember the first time reading this, I was like, oh shit, Ryu's going to become a shaman. I really like that. It was his shamanic partners that surprised me when I first found out, but it made sense when it happens. And I'm pretty sure you guys already know who it is if I haven't already spoiled it before. What follows is a great road trip story between Ryu and Morty. Ryu helping Morty understand you don't have to have all the answers right now. As long as you're doing what you love, you can find happiness. It's a great mini arc. It's just like a couple panels of like Ryu and Morty at rest stops, eating food, having burgers, talking, checking out ladies, stuff like that. It's very cute. Very nice little side story to throw in there, side panels. And it helps build a world, helps it flesh out. Meanwhile, we see the back of a brand new character that is worrying about Yo and his training. This brand new character is going to be Yo's apprentice. I think her name is Tamio. It turns out she's Yo's disciple, and she warns his grandfather that a short man and a tall man have come to bring catastrophe to Yo. Because, she has, I think she's like not a fortune teller. She says what she is at some point. she relies on these two spirit allies, a tanuki and a fox. Very ironic because I just read the latest One Piece chapter and it had a tanuki and a fox on the front cover, but her spirit divinations. She does divination, so she can like see glimpses of a future, pieces of a future that could possibly happen. And her name is Tamio, and we learn later that she's in love with Yo, but she also respects Anna as his fiance. So props for that. And Anna's aware of her feelings. We learned that later. Anna's aware of her feelings. Anna's always known about her feelings, but Anna doesn't care. Anna's like, that's my man. You can admire him, but you can't have him. You know, respect for that. We're going to talk about that when we get there. But she's come to warn Yo that like a tall man and a short man have come to hurt Yo. That's what she believes. That's what her divinations have told her. And Yo's grandfather tells her like, oh, you're still young. You're still learning. This omen's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Like, oh, Yo's grandfather's like, oh, Yo's already in Yomi Cave. He's fine. Them fools can't go in there and interrupt this training. Don't worry about it. But even though Yo's grandfather doesn't believe her, Tamio and her two spirit allies, Ponchi and Kanchi, the Tanuki spirit and the Fox spirit, try to convince her that to keep Morty and Ryu away from her, to keep Morty and Ryu away from Yo. To which she says, "I'll fight them upon their arrival." So I remember the first time I also read this, I was like, okay, who is this new character? She's in love with Yo, but she also respects, you know, Anna, because she knows Yo is taken. But I was like, okay, Morty and Ryu are going to have a fight when they arrive. You know, I thought they were going to have a fight on their hands. But it's more of a gag, and we're going to get to that in a second. After 10 hours riding on the motorcycle together, Morty and Ryu arrive in Izumo. However, the problem is, even though they're here, they still don't know how to find Yo. So they've arrived in Izumo, but they don't know where to go. Just like you can arrive in my town, be looking for me, you know, your next favorite author of the Shinry series and the Chronicles of Wayne and the Monster series. Check me out in the comment series and the link description box below. Link will be posted in the end of the video. You know, you can be looking for me, but you got to search my whole city to find me. But they won't have to worry about that because Yo's apprentice has arrived, and she won't let anyone harm or cause or interrupt Yo's training. She won't let anybody get in Yo's way. However, Ryu interrupts her because he finds out like she's like a beautiful. He's like, "Oh, will you marry me? Will you go out with me? Will you be my happy place?" To which obviously she freaks out and is like, "No," because Ryu will say that to any woman. He said that to Anna. He said that to Tamio. He's like Brock from Pokemon, but in Shaman King, where Ryu just sees a beautiful woman, and he's like, will you marry me? Will you be my happy place? Ryu just wants a woman that'll love him. And I hope by the end of the series, Ryu finds like a female shaman that loves him back or something like that. I can see something like that happening with Ryu. I can see that. But again, I don't know how the Shaman King manga ends. But also hilariously, Ryu's pompadour gets cut again by one of the two spirits. So again, like I said, this pompadour is gonna keep coming back. Right now, it got cut in half again, like right down the middle. And again, this gag's not over. This gag's not even at its final form. This is like the second or third form of Ryu's pompadour. But anyways, we learned that Tamio is a Kukuru user, a shaman who uses foxtail and tanuki spirits and uses the power of divination to get glimpses of the future, but it's never quite clear. Or glimpses of a possible future, but it's never quite clear. Kind of gives me like Harry Potter when like the divination teacher was reading like the cup for Harry and it looked like a fox, and she was like, "Oh, I see death, I see this, I see that," but she couldn't even like tell Harry exactly what it was. You know, that kind of divination where like she can read it, but she doesn't fully understand what she's saying, something like that. I'll probably clip that in here so you guys get an example of what I'm talking about. But anyways, Kanchi and Ponchi, they're spirits you can pass on curses. And what is the first curse they use? One of them turns into a giant pair of human balls and wraps Morty and traps him in a ball sack. I can tell right now, that gag was not in the 4K anime. I don't know if that gag is in the Netflix anime, but probably not, because again, the Netflix anime is like 12 episodes. But when I read this, I was like, oh my god. I at first thought he made Morty's balls huge, and then I read it, kept reading it, it was like Ponchi became balls or something like that. It was crazy either way. That reaction had me weak. These are weak. These are just weak gag characters. Ponchi and Kanchi are not threats. Tamio's not a threat because she's still a young apprentice. But yeah, these two characters, they're ridiculous. Tamio even finds them embarrassing, but they are her spirit allies, and while she doesn't mean to kill Morty or Ryu, she only wants to intimidate them to leave. She's like, look, you see what my cursed spirits can do to you? Ryu also, by the way, passed out as his popular got cut off. He passed out. Oh, he also got kicked in the nuts. Ryu got kicked in the nuts, and his pompadour got cut in half. That's what happened. And then Morty got trapped by balls. We also learn that she doesn't just serve Yo, but she serves the entire Asakura family as she is working for them, and she has been working for them since she was just 4 years old. So she's not like a slave. She's more like a family maid, like a house, a generational, like, I guess generational maid for the Asakura family. Her family probably serves the higher family. Kind of like, Neji's Hyuga clan serves like Hinata's Hyuga clan, like they're just servants to even their family. Anyways, I've used that example. Also, speaking of Hinata and Neji, she's kind of like Hinata in the way that she like watches Joe from afar. She's kind of like inspired by him, but obviously like, too shy to talk to him at the same time. And then in the very next panel, this is where she admits that she's in love with Yo, even though, again, she's aware that Yo belongs to Anna and Anna belongs to Yo. They're in an arranged marriage. But she goes on to say that even though Anna is better suited for Yo, her love for him is no less strong. And so she forms what looks like an intimidating oversoul where her two spirits form like a bow and arrow kind of fusion thing. I remember thinking this was kind of cool. It was kind of interesting when I first saw it. But she tells us that her oversoul name is Cupid and that her bow and arrow is in the form of a heart made for matchmaking and it always aims for the heart. So I'm not sure if like you get hit by her arrow or you fall in love with somebody or you fall in love with her or if two people get hit by the arrows simultaneously. Like there's no description of what happens with the power because again it's a gag. It's going to cut short very soon. But I am very curious how her oversoul worked, how the oversoul Cupid works, especially with in ties with divination. But I don't honestly remember if anything ever happened to her. I don't remember if she ever fights. I remember if she ever comes back later. I really don't remember Tamio past this point. Before she fires, she asks Morty if he will leave again, but Morty tells her fiercely he came out this way to find out more about Yo, and he's not leaving without answers. And because Tamio's premonition told him that they were dangerous, she prepares to stop and attack anyone that has come to interrupt Yo's training. I'm very sorry. This stupid healing denture is like really moving around in my mouth a lot, but I don't want to talk about it. I'm still getting comfortable wearing healing denture, but we're going to get through it. We only got 5 more pages to talk about. But who comes to save Morty in this time of need? Because obviously Ryu's passed out. Ryu can't stop her. And Morty's not a shaman. So obviously it's Anna and Midamaru. In the next panel, we see that Anna is even more furious than she's ever been, yelling at the two spirits, Panchi and Kanchi, and immediately making them submit, breaking Tamio's oversoul and releasing Morty from their hold. Like Anna's like, what the hell are you two doing? She's like strangling both their spirits with her bare hands. Because shamans can grab spirits and spirits can grab shamans. Spirits can't touch real humans. They can't see them, but they can interact with objects that will affect those humans. Anna demands the two spirits apologize, and at first they play dumb. They're looking to the side, doing like One Piece face, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Until Anna hilariously tries to strangle them and tell them and make them say uncle, or this is where he strangles them. I'm like, okay, we'll tell you everything. And it turns out Panchi and Kanchi played a prank on Tamio just so they could get out and stretch their legs. I guess like when she's not using divination, when she's not summoning these two spirits, they're just locked up in the Snooki and the foxtail spirit statues. So they're like, hey, we don't get to go out anymore. You don't use us, you don't play with us, you don't talk to us. So we play this trick on you so we can get out there and stretch our legs. We can get out here and be among humans. Tamio sadly adds, this is why she's so a novice, as in the Asakura eyes, she couldn't see that her own two spirits were deceiving her. This is why Tamio sees herself as like not worthy of Yo. She sees herself inferior to Anna because she's like, Anna saw right through these two. Anna would never be deceived by these two idiots. But I fell for them because they're my spirits and I didn't know any better. She then fears that Anna will scold her, but instead, Anna tells her that she did a good job. One of those rare compliments we get from Anna, which is a big deal. Like, getting a compliment from Anna is huge. She doesn't dismiss, though, however, that she is Yo's wife, and she's aware that she's her admirer, but Oh yeah, this is the part. She doesn't dismiss though that as Yo's wife, she's aware that Tamio is an admirer, but she will never be anything more to Yo. To which Morty replies, "It's harsh and formidable." But at the same time, any woman that don't play by her man, respect on that, and any man should not be the same way. No woman should. Any woman that's not play by her man should be that way, and any man don't play by his woman should be that way. You should always defend your partner in sickness, health, and everything. And when somebody talking about them or somebody trying to get with them. Y'all can stare, you can admire, but don't touch or don't try to talk to him directly. Like, don't try to go around me to talk to my man. I can give you a random story time. I remember this one time we were at the water park. And one of my girlfriend coworkers, she had pointed out this hot dude standing on there at the water park, and I looked to her like, damn. And the female next to him was like, she started jumping up and down. She saw us looking at her man, and he's looking at her all up, and at her confused, and she points at us, and we like ducking and look like we didn't look, top right off. And then as she came up the stairs passing us, he walking by, we looking at him, she was like, yes, because she knows she got a good man. That's what I'm saying. She know her man fine. So that's what I mean. You should don't play by your partner. Respect your partner. She didn't tell us the three of them. She didn't tell us the three, or rather four of them: Ryu, Amidamaru, Kanchi, and Tamio. I guess the five of them to follow her. And they asked, "Where are we going?" And she says, "To see Yo, of course. That's what y'all all came here for." Because she says by now he should be finishing up his training. And then we get a glimpse of Yo in the darkness, which I think is a really cool, dope panel, looking all serious. We don't get to see Yo's face just yet, but we see him walking through darkness, and I thought it was a really cool touch to add there. But also, for the first time ever, we see Anna genuinely smile. Again, one of those rare moments. Hiroyo Taki is killing it with these characters. Killing it! But I enjoy that brief glance of Anna smiling because she's right back to yelling at Kanchi and Pachi in the very next panel, demanding them that they take them to see Yo, which I fucking love. Anna's like, flip of a switch. She's like, yeah, I'm smiling, I'm happy. Okay, now back to work. Get your asses on. Let's go. It is also only now that Morty learns that Yo has been in the cave for 7 days and 7 nights without anything to eat or anything to drink, all to increase his mana or aryoku, to which Morty rightfully freaks out and his best friend's on the brink of death. He's like, hey, we gotta help him. We gotta get there now. He's like racing to get to Yo. But once again, he's stopped by Anna, to which, again, for some reason, Morty thinks she doesn't care about Yo. And he yells at her for being arrogant. She's like, how could you be selfish, thinking about letting Yo go in that cave to get stronger without food or water, like walking through darkness for 7 days and 7 nights? What if he gets lost? What if he's dead? What if my best friend's a zombie right now? But again, it's Morty being ignorant. It's not Anna being arrogant. Morty's being ignorant to the ways of a shaman. Because he should know by now how Anna really feels about Yo. She says that Yo isn't doing this for her. He's not doing it for any of them. He's doing it for himself to make himself stronger. Yo alone made this decision, and he will see it through. She yells that she has no choice but to believe in him, and for some reason, again, surprising Morty when he should already know Anna is Yo's #1 fan. Anna believes in Yo more than anybody else, even more than Morty. So it's always weird how Morty's like shocked by Anna's responses. I'm like, yes, Anna's in love with Yo. Why are you surprised? She then also kicks Ryu awake, who's been asleep this entire time since his pompadour has cut off and he got his nuts kicked. She's like, get your ass up. We need to move. Yo's about to meet us at the exit of the cave. Ryu's like, oh, my balls again. But to get there, we have to ride a bus for 15 hours. But could you imagine walking through a cave for a whole week without food or water through darkness? I mean, that has to be really challenging. That's a true test of courage and sanity and deprivation. Like, really. I could not do it. Even if it was to get stronger. I'm not sure my mind could handle that. Later, 15 hours later, outside the cave, Morty, Anna, Ryu, Tamio, and the Midamaru all seem to share the same sentiment about Yo, wondering if, after all this time in the cave, will he come back changed? Will he come back different? Did he get lost? They all believe in Yo, but they're rightfully scared at the same time. Like, again, no food, no water. You're walking through darkness. You're deprived of all of that. Like, and all you have left is your mana and aryoku. And basically, like, you are dying. You are dead, in that sense. So they're worried, like, will he come out different? Will he be a whole different person? Will he even remember who we are? You know, will he be evil? You know, we don't know. And then the time comes. They're all excited when Tamio's spirits, Ponchi and Conchi, locate Yo inside the cave, and the realization that he's not only alive, but he's close to the exit. And the realization and dramatic lines he draws is so fucking great. I'm gonna show this panel off for a few seconds, but I love how detailed Hiryotaki really is putting into this manga. Like the way they're like, oh, he's almost out and he's at the exit. What the hell? And when Yo finally approaches an exit and steps out, he looks completely fine. He looks like he did when he went in the cave. In fact, he's like, hey, what's up, guys? It's been a while. You know, it's been a week. I haven't seen you guys in a minute. And they're all shocked. They're like, one, you look exactly the same. There's no physical change. And they're forgetting that this is a spiritual change. It wasn't about physical. Yo went into the Yami cage to increase his mana, not his physical body, not his, like, outward appearance. And second, that he's so calm after walking through darkness, walking out so calm and relaxed after walking through darkness for an entire week and no food or water. Like, Yo just doesn't seem freaked out, doesn't seem happy to see the light. He's just like, oh, hey, what's up? But I love that Yo was like halfway through the journey, I started thinking about the future and what my current situation is, and my brain started hurting. So I decided to stop thinking completely. I just kept walking, even if that meant I had to crawl my way out of the cave. He's like, yeah, that's what I did. Like, you know, it was becoming too much. 3.5 days in, thinking about, like, the future and all the opponents got to fight and things that could go wrong. So I just stopped thinking. I started walking. And I told myself, I got out of here one way or another. And then, only then does he fall back and be like, oh, man, I'm so hungry. It's been a week. Fucking love it. The gag after a serious moment was perfect. That evening, Tamio supplies dinner for everyone. Again, she is a maid for the Asakura family, so this is probably just one of her normal duties. We also see how big the Asakura house is, and it's huge for a family that they say no longer makes money. Oh, yeah. I remember Yo's grandfather at the beginning of the story said, like, you know, the Asakura family doesn't make money anymore because, you know, no one comes to shamans, no one comes to fortune telling no more, no one comes to us or seeking answers. You know, they don't rely on God anymore. They moved away from God, as we have in real life. You know, a lot of people moved away from God. But we learned that it was like a house that used to be made up of a lot of families. This house is like 600 years old, and it consisted of a lot of families. But the only family that lives here now, it's like Yo's father, his mother, and his grandfather. Now, mind you, outside of a flashback in the 4Kids anime, and I think in the manga, I don't think we've ever seen Yo's mom, never seen Yo's dad's face, and we've seen Yo's grandmother, like in a panel where she was training Anna. But I just remember seeing the father's face or his mama again. But we probably will see them at some point. But the next page, we learned that his grandfather went to meet some officials, and his mother's away having a spa day with the ladies. That's why we don't see her in the manga at this point. His grandfather's talking to officials in the city, and his mama's like, well, I went to have a spa day. We ain't worried about Yo. And then I think his father's somewhere else as well. And Morty's like, how could his family not care about Yo in a time like this? You know, why were they not here for Yo's return? They knew he'd make it out in a week. But we learned from Tamio that that's just how the Asakura family is. They have no interference policy in their family. The wife cares for the husband, and since Anna is Yo's like arranged fiance, she is the one that's supposed to take care of Yo. And Tamio goes and says, like, a hard-working woman like Anna has earned the right to be Yo's wife and always be at his side to take care of him. Something that Tamio notes out loud that I can never be, or that Anna beat her to it, and kind of embarrasses herself. But again, Anna's already aware of this. The rest of the crew are probably learning this for the first time. Yo probably even heard this for the first time, but or Yo might even know this, but like, yeah, she just like, yeah, oh shit, I tell my inner thoughts out loud. Yeah, Yo, I care about you. I want to be with you. I want to be the one that you ended up with, but you ended up with Anna because she's a better hardworking woman than me. Imagine saying that out loud at your best friend's wedding or something like that. That'd be crazy. But they wonder where Anna has gone because she's not with the group. But she and Ryu have long since gone to bed, tired from the day. The others go to join them, except for Morty, who sits awake at night alone, thinking about how he came all the way to Izumu to learn more about Yo, but he feels like he's learned nothing yet. Morty's like, man, I made this trip all the way here to learn more about Yo. None of his family's here. Yo was in a cave. everybody's tired. You know, I didn't learn anything. I feel like I wasted my time. But he's not the only one to wait. Not the only one to wait because Yo is up too. Too excited for his training for once to sleep. This is the first time that Yo was excited to train. Yo was excited to get stronger. Yo was awake because he wanted to apologize to Morty for how he talked to him in the hospital because he was too worried about not being strong enough to protect his friend ever again. But what gave him comfort though was that all the time that this was happening, Morty still called Yo his friend before he left the hospital. Yo felt like, you know, even after what I said to you, you still call me your friend. Fucking love that. Again, just a great anime about friendship and battles and a great story, unique story. Fucking love it. They're interrupted, though, by Yo's grandfather, who's returned from his meeting with the council and informs Yo that even though he made it out of the cave, his training is not over yet. And he's not alone because Anna and Medium are here, too, to test Yo. Oh, sorry, guys. One more second. I can't wait to take this thing out. We're almost done. He compliments Yo on having a worthy and admiral samurai spirit, but since he's only human, Amidamaru possesses no special abilities, so they can only get stronger if Yo gets stronger himself, and so he wants to challenge his grandson to a fight. Yo doesn't have a spirit like Korokoro, which is a nature spirit that can create snow. He's not a necromancer that can summon more skeletons to do his bidding. I mean, Tao Ren has a human spirit too, but Tao Ren also has a horse spirit now. So he's like, since you only got that single spirit, a human samurai, you can't rely on being tomorrow to become stronger. You have to rely on yourself to get stronger. And third cut off, that'll be the last cut off in the video. Anyways, so Yo's grandfather comes and he's not alone. Anna and Amidamaru are here as well. He compliments Yo on having a worthy and admiral samurai spirit because, again, Amidamaru is human, so he doesn't have special abilities. He doesn't have, a power like, Trey's Korokoro spirit that can create, snow from nature or, I'm not sure we've seen any other kind of nature or powered spirits so far. I mean, I guess you could say Foss because as a necromancer, he can summon more than just Eliza. He can bring back anybody from the dead and create an army of skeletons. So he's like, your samurai spirit doesn't have any special abilities. So Amidamaru relies on you to get stronger in order for him to get stronger. And so he's like, I'm going to train you and I'm going to test your ability. And how's he going to do that? He tells Yo he must cut down all of his guardian spirits at once, all of his nature spirits. However, though they look like normal simple plant spirits, like a orb with a plant leaf inside, with this many at Yo's current former level, he's like, they will kill you. There's 100 of them. It's kind of like Chio's 100 spirit technique or something like that. 100, puppeteer technique. It's kind of like that. Yo goes on to say that even though the plant spirit scared him to death as a kid, he cannot explain why, but he knows somehow that he can defeat them. So we have seen that in Yo's flashback when Yo was 4 years old, these old plant spirits would beat him up and stuff like that. And again, even though something looks small, like say an ant, there's a lot of ants. You're kind of fucked. You're gonna get beat up. Look at the Bugs Life movie. When all them ants stood up to them crickets, even though them crickets are stronger and bigger.
Yeah, but we can forget about him.
Yeah, it was just one ant. One ant.
Yeah, you're right. It's just one ant.
Yeah, boss, they're puny.
Puny? Say, let's pretend this grain is a puny little ant. Did that hurt?
Nope.
Well, how about this one? Are you kidding? Well, how about this? You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1.
Sorry, I'm also talking about my healing denture, so I'll probably sound a little different, and I feel a little different, but just throwing that out there if I sound a little different at this point in the video. His grandfather isn't impressed by just words, though, when he attacks him with the 100 spirits. Yo goes in to say that as he prepares to draw his blade and turn it Mitamaru into spirit orbs, that before as a kid he couldn't see how his grandfather's spiritual technique worked, but now his eyes can see it. It's kind of like in Hunter x Hunter, where like if you add nen to your eyes, you can like see certain things you couldn't see before. Yo's like, I don't know why, but before I didn't know how my grandfather's technique works. But now that I have all this more powerful for aryoku, now that I've died and gone to Yomi Cave, I can see how my grandfather's technique works. I know how to defeat it. And then in the next panel, all the leaves have been severed in half that were in the plant spirits, and all of them are impressed, including Yo's grandfather. You know, Anna's shocked, Morty's shocked. I think Ryu's there. No, not Ryu. Morty, Anna, his grandfather, and well, Mitamaru is a spirit orb by now. But they're all shocked because his grandfather goes on to say, like, his evolved Oversoul is a worthy one. That's what he goes on to say. And evolved it did, because Mitamaru said long ago that he gave up his ego to, like, you know, submit to Yo. And now old Yo's Oversoul has, like, an armor to it. It's really fucking cool. It has, like, a Mitamaru's, like, armor. And this is the version I remember the most as a kid. The one we saw previously when he, like, you know, first was training to fight against Horo or Silva. But that's when he learned it. He learned Oversoul when he fought Silva. That Oversoul was amazing too. That was the first version of it. And now this one has, like, you know, Mitamaru's eyes. Before it did have eyes, but they were just like hollow sockets. But now Mitamaru has actual eyes, and Mitamaru can talk. And again, like I said, another hype moment in the manga when I first read this. It was just so cool. Also, you can see, like, the flames kind of, like, more, like, condensed, more, like, focused. Whereas before, it was just, like, a giant flame hovering over the blade. Meanwhile, back in Tokyo, we flash back to Tao Ren in the shower, and we get a look at his mark of Tao on his back. This inspired the mark of Necros on Makanui's back in the Shobutsu Shinry Sword of Light, and you know, the whole Shobutsu Shinry trilogy. The Necros mark came from this idea, especially when we learn more about what the Tao mark means. We also learned that, like, Tao Jun was called back to their homeland in China and to tell his family about all his battles. So he's, like, calling out for his sister. He's like, hey, sister, where are you? I need a towel and some milk. You know, I guess she's, like, his maid, or, like, because he's, like, the one that's entered the Shaman King tournament. Like, she's supposed to, like, serve her brother. And he's like, oh, she's not here. And then Basan tells her, like, oh, she's coming back to China to tell the family about all your victories and stuff like that. But Ren clearly had the distaste at the thought of the rest of his family and their grand revenge they've held for 1,800 years. We don't know what this is yet. There's a whole arc after, I think, he beats Ren, where we go to, like, China and we meet Ren's family. That's a whole another arc, and that is in the 4Kids anime. While we don't know exactly what the backstory is behind it yet, Basan tells us that the Tao family seeks revenge on the world for being persecuted, prejudiced, I guess persecuted, but it's like prejudiced against, and they soon plan to get revenge, and they plan to get their revenge through Ren when he becomes Shaman King, and, like, you know, renovate the world or make the world how they see fit, something like that. Again, that's more fleshed out later. We also learned that Basan is of the age 800 years ago, and he was known as the Sword of Fear, and his warhorse Kotoko helped him win endless battles. Which at first, Ren's not impressed. He's like, oh yeah, 1800 years ago, you were the known as the Sword of Fear, but you lost to a samurai 1200 years younger than you. Because, you know, Mitamaru was from, like, 600, 500 years ago, something like that. I forgot exactly when. I think it was 600 years ago for Mitamaru. But, and though his horse has long since died, Ren did find the spirit of his horse and placed it into Ren's new white horse that has lived with its soul in its place. So now, the horse is, old former soul is gone, and it's replaced by Cockatoo. Again, I might be saying his names wrong, but it's replaced by, you know, Basan's former warhorse spirit. So even the horse is looking, like, you know, angry and, like, serious, stuff like that. It's really fucking cool. I remember seeing this, I was like, oh crud, this is crazy. But before the chapter comes to an end, we learn Ren's ultimate goal is to get revenge on his whole family. Ren's like, not only am I going to become the Shaman King, but once I do, I'm taking revenge on all of the Taos. Probably not his sister. He clearly cares about his sister, but the rest of his family. He probably his mama, his daddy, his uncle. He's like, the rest of y'all got to pay. It's kind of given from Hunter x Hunter. Again, I'm not making Hunter x Hunter comparisons because I was reading Hunter x Hunter and Shaman King at the same time. These are releasing simultaneously. Killua's backstory, Killua kind of hates his family, with his whole backstory. Tao Ren and Killua kind of like similar in that kind of way. We learned from Ren that he was born in blood and raised in revenge. He knows that the cycle of revenge will never cease, and once you take revenge on someone who's wronged you, they will in turn do the same. I can say that is true for sure. My first boyfriend, the first time he cheated on me, I cheated on him back. Because I found out. And once he found out I cheated on him, but cheated on me, he cheated on me again. And then it becomes a cycle. Just like hatred, just like Pain once told Naruto. And, it's a lesson like, you cause somebody pain. Somebody calls you Pain. She calls them Pain back. And then they call you Pain. And it's just a cycle that never ends until somebody just calls it quits. And so Ren's like, I'm going to cut it at the source. Y'all... I was born into blood. I was born into this revenge plan. You raised me like that, but I had nothing to do with it. So I'm gonna become a Shaman King, and I'm killing all of y'all, basically. Ren plans to destroy all the negative spirits in the world, in fact, and seek and end revenge. He wants to end not just the human race, but I remember he said something like that when he's talking to Yo. Return the world to nature or something like that. But he wants revenge on he's going to get revenge on his family, and he's going to end all the negative spirits. But we can also see Ren's evolved Oversoul is similar to Yo. Basan's armor that he wears on his body, or his armor, it's now wrapped around his spear. So I think Ren has Basan's spear. He has Basan's warhorse now, warhorse spirit inside of a real horse, and then Basan's Oversoul, his armor now wraps around it. Kind of like, again, Gyo's Oversoul. They kind of like mirror to each other. And both of our characters now have evolved Oversouls, which is really cool to see. So we know when they fight, it's going to be a really good fight. But the newest thing for Yo and Amidamaru is that Amidamaru is now conscious and Oversoul and can talk to Yo while in that form. He even has hair. Oh, I forgot he mentioned he has hair now on his Oversoul. And his eyes compared to his completely previous form, which I talked about previously before, but this is the part where you realize that. We also learned that Yo can keep getting stronger from this point as he reaches absolute Oversoul. An absolute Oversoul, which will make Amidamaru manifest in the human world again, which I believe was done in the anime. Again, the 4Kids anime goes off on its own thing at some point in the Shaman King tournament because, Shaman King gets a little bit darker, especially with Yo talking about getting revenge on his family. 4Kids didn't have that as his motivation. Ren did seek revenge against his family, but not to kill him. I think it was different in the 4Kids anime. But like I was saying, in the 4Kids anime, they manifest into like giant forms where they have a full body, but they're giants. I'm not sure if that's the absolute Oversoul they were trying to mimic in the 4Kids anime. I'm very curious to find out because I don't know the ending of the Shaman King. I've never seen the ending of Shaman King, never read it. But I'm curious if that's what is going to happen. That'd be very interesting to see. In the end, his grandfather gives him a touching message that they all believe in Yo and that he will become the Shaman King. They all believe it. And as the volume comes to a close, Yo and Ren's battle takes place in just 5 days. Alright guys, so that's it for this volume. My thoughts on it, this was really fun, especially to remember. Again, I'm reading the Shaman King manga from volume 1, from the start. I want to do at least one volume per month, and I know I'm behind by 2 volumes. We didn't do a volume in April, we didn't do a volume in March, and now we're in May. But I just been caught up. I'm trying to get certain things in life and set, and like I said, I got a healing denture now, and my life's kind of taking a turn, and I'm just trying to adapt, to get used to it. But anyways, I'm still loving this manga. We will catch him in volume 6 or 7 in June for sure. I will have that out. But yeah, what an amazing chapter. I love that Ryu is about to become a shaman. I love that Morty and Yo have this tight-knit friendship. It really is about friendship. And I know people say the power of friendship is corny, but it really does have that element of the power of friendship. I love seeing this more personality from Anna, her smiling, her unwavering belief in Yo getting stronger, learning about the absolute Oversoul, learning that Maru might actually come back to life in some way or form at the end of the Shaman King manga. Like, how would that work? If will Yo and Amidamaru fight side by side? Will Yo no longer need to be a part of Amidamaru, or would they? I don't know. I don't know about what an absolute Oversoul is going to look like. That'd be very interesting to see. The other thing I loved was they did some of this new character, Panchi and Conchi. They are gag characters, but it's pretty funny. I do like it. I like knowing that Yo's mom's still alive because I didn't remember if she was or not. I remember she's in a flashback of the Poor Kids anime, but I don't remember anything past that. I like seeing Morty's family. That was also cool. As we learn more about Yo's family, we learn more about Morty's family. That he's rich, that he has a sister, that his parents are wealthy in America and they want to take over the business. I like that Ryu's family, his friends, his gang, they have jobs now and they're chasing their own dreams. Very cool. I really want to see how all of this ends. Anyways, I don't want to drag out this video for too long. It's already a very long video. And so I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll talk to you guys later, and I hope you enjoy. Bye. Hey guys, this video was sponsored by me, the author of the Shinry series, the Chronicles of Wayne, and Monsterverse. So I figured I'd do this outro a little bit different by showing you guys what you guys will be checking out. So, the Shinry series starts with Book 1, Shobu Samurai Project Aryoku. 10 years after the death of his parents, Shobu Samurai returns home, seeking vengeance, but instead faces a choice to save his home from shadow creatures, blood beasts, and an organization once thought dead. Shinry's Shobu Samurai starts at $9.99. And if you love anime, manga, Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Yu Yu Hakusho, Fairy Tail, Shaman King, Rave Master, Zatch Bell, anything like that, the Shinry series is definitely the series for you. You'll definitely want to check it out. The Sword of Light is probably the thickest one so far. And then these books are 2. This is Enter the Dread Zone Tournament. And the series original ending, Arado the Legendary Konjuis Master. So, and I'll show you guys some of the covers. Really proud of all of these. But I hope you guys check it out. If you don't like that, I also have the current published books for the Chronicles of Wayne, Love Be Damned, Cotton Candy, Full Moons, Fabled Lovers, A Cursed Virgin's Bite. If You Go Where Monsters Dance, Red will Rain Over Your House. Love Be Damned. Now, the Chronicles of Wayne is about a geeky guy, or a nerdy guy in high school. His senior year, he has a crush on the hottest guy in school, because of course he does. He's only got one best friend, and her name is Barb. Well, the hottest guy in school turns out to be a werewolf. And, to make the story more interesting, he bites Wayne and turns Wayne into the first ever wolfman in the last 10 years. And because of that, it was also a sacred law that wolfmen should never be created. I don't want to get into too much of the Chronicles of Wayne without spoiling it, but I can tell you it's very short. This one sells for $6.99, and Love Be Caged right after it. The ending of this trilogy, Love Be Liberated, comes out in October. So I'm going to definitely do a more full in-depth review of this one. But yeah, it's an LGBT fantasy fiction story about werewolves, vampires, white witches, a dark warlock, and, well, many, many more surprises to come. So, if you guys like to read, I definitely recommend. These are all the books so far in the Shinry series, except for Shinry's Beginning. I do have that one, but it's just not here with me. But yeah, I appreciate a like, support, or just a review on Amazon. Either way, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day.